Okay, so now I'm going to be going over the back of this worksheet, which is drawing a scaled copy of each. So notice there's not too many directions on the back of this. You're free to choose whatever scale factor you want. What I'm going to do is pick a couple that enlarge it and a couple that reduce it. So I'm looking at this circle and I'm going to pick, well, I want to scale this. I'm going to pick a scale factor equal to, let's go 2. Again, you don't have to pick 2. You can pick any number that you want. As long as you scale it up correctly, you're going to be good. So here's my circle again. I don't have any straight edges, so I'm going to look for those inside parts. So I'm going to count this distance. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my up and down distance, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So if I scale these by 2, that means these distances are going to get multiplied by 2 to enlarge them. So I'm going to just start with a point. Let's start right here. So this length, if right now it's a distance of 4, I'm going to scale it by 2. That means I'm going to do 4 times 2 to get a length of 8. So then I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to make sure that since this vertical line is coming halfway through, I need to make my new line come halfway through also so that it's exactly the same shape. So halfway through 8 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to make sure my line starting there, and then I'm going to go 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and 1, 2, 3, 4 down. And do your best to make your circle as nice as possible. It's going to be a little lopsided. So then that's going to be 8, and that's going to be an 8 because I scaled it up by 2. Number 7, I have kind of this funky looking arrow type shape. I'm going to go ahead and let's use a scale factor. Come on, scale factor. Why is it up? Let's say scale factor equal to 1/2. So that means all of my side lengths, I'm going to cut them in half to make the new side lengths. So first, let's count what we have. We have 4, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. So here, what we're going to do is cut all of these in half. So if I go ahead using a different color, if I cut all of these in half, that means this is going to be 2, this is going to turn to a 1, this is going to turn to a 1/2, this is going to be a 1, this will go to a 1, a 1/2, and then this is going to be a 1. So I notice the top of this is a little funky. I can't really count. So what I'm going to start with is just drawing this bottom part, which seems pretty easy because my numbers are nice and neat. And then I'm going to look to see what I can do with that top part. So I'm just going to leave that open for now. So I'm going to start here. My side length of 2. I'm going to turn to 1. Let's zoom in a little bit. And then I have a 1/2. And then 1. Now I'm going to have 2. So this is going to get a little bit trickier also because right now this horizontal piece that has to be a length of 2, I'm at a 1/2 block here. So I'm going to go 1/2 block, 1, and then a 1/2 block, right? Because a 1/2 block on either end makes a full block. So I'm going to go 1/2 and then 1 and then 1/2. So sometimes it's not as easy to cut them in half. You might get some weird shapes, but just think through it. We're making it through. Then a 1, then a 1/2, and then a 1. Okay. So now I'm always looking for these patterns. These ones were easy to count. I noticed that this top point, they come to a point directly in the center. So if I look here, directly in the center would be this piece here, right? And I can see in the length of this triangle, I have 2 blocks by 2 blocks. So I can change that to 1 block by 1 block. So I'm going to make my point here. And there I have my figure that is scaled by a 1/2. Again, you didn't have to pick a 1/2. These you can pick whatever scale factor that you want. You're kind of up to your choosing. Number 8, let's go ahead and multiply this. Let's pick a fraction. So let's go by 1/2. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to say my scale factor. Let's pick 1.5. So now let's go through and count the side lengths that we see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I notice that I have this weird curved shape, which there's no straight edges, so it's kind of hard to count. So if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and count what I can see. So I have 4 here, and then directly in the middle, I see a nice line here, which has 3. So you can kind of look around and pick whatever side lengths seem easy to count. So again, I said my scale factor was 1.5. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply all of these by 1.5. So 4 times 1.5. If you want to do this in your head, 4 times 1 is 4, and then half of 4 is 2. So if you add those together, our new side length is going to be 6. So I'm going to go ahead and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My side length of 4. And then I have 3 times 1.5. And again, if I do the same trick, 1 times 3 is 3. Half of 3 is 1.5. So that means if I add them together, I get 4.5. So my side length of 3 here is going to get scaled up to 4.5. Again, I had to pick this weird middle piece, so I just have to make sure I'm starting that line in the same space. So if I'm coming in the middle here, I have to make sure I'm coming in the middle here. So if I'm a length of 6, I'm going to start 3 down, 1, 2, 3 down to make sure that's where I started. You always want it to look exactly the same. Then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I'm just going to connect the best that I can. It's a little hard to draw it on the iPad. So there's my scale letter D with a scale factor of 1/2. Okay. For number 9, let's pick something a little bit easier to get us out of the fraction world. I'm just doing that to show you what you could do if you picked them. But this just as easily, we could go through and let's say, well, let's multiply it by 2. So we did 2. Let's do scale factor of 3. So scale factor equals 3. So let's count my sides. I have 3. This is a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then I do have this diagonal line here, but these are the ones that we like. They're easy to count. Notice how it goes directly from corner to corner. So I can technically count that as a full block. Okay. So from corner to corner, I'm going through 2. Okay. The difference, I want to see if I can see how on this one, I didn't go corner to corner, so I couldn't tell if it was a full block. So I couldn't really do that same pattern. Down here, if you see a shape where you're going to corner, I can count that as a side length of 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw my shape in with a scale factor of 3. That means all of these numbers are going to get multiplied by 3. So let's do this big guy first. 5 times 3 means that new side length is going to be 15. So I'm going to start down here maybe. Now I need to count 15 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ugh, just ran out of space. 15. 14, 15. So I'm going to draw that in. I can do this diagonal piece, again, because they're going straight from corner to corner. So if I do 2 diagonals times 3, that means my new shape is going to go through 6 diagonals. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 times 3 is going to be 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then just to check my work, this should scale up to a side length of 6. So I'm going to count 6 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. That's my scaled figure using a scale factor of 3. And then finally here, I'm going to go ahead and let's cut this one in half too, because this guy's so big. I don't know how much bigger I'm going to be able to fit this one. So this, I'm going to use scale factor equal to 1/2. So let's count our side lengths as they are right now. So my top piece here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this doesn't look too nice. This, I'm going corner to corner again. So that's going to be nice and neat. So I have 1, 2 corners I'm going through, and then 2 here. So if my scale factor is 1/2, I'm going to take all of these numbers and cut them in half. Majority of them are going to work out pretty nice, except for this number 1 and this number 5. So let's start with what seems easy. So I'm going to do this piece here. 1/2 of 4 is going to be 2. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that one in. This piece, 1/2 of 2 is 1. 1/2 of 2 for this diagonal is 1. So my new diagonal is only going to be 1 block. And then I have this length of 4, which that's going to change into a length of 2. this number 1, that's going to be my half. So half of 1 is 1/2. So I'm just going to come down to the half mark here. Half of 2 is 1. So I'm going to come over 1 whole block. And then half of 5 should be 2.5. So if I count, I have 1, 2.5. So it matches up. There's my scaled copies. Okay. Again, you could have picked any scale factor here. I picked some fractions, some bigger fractions to enlarge it, some smaller fractions. And then if you have some shapes that aren't necessarily as easy to count, you can find those interesting type line segments to use. Okay, so there you have it. There's your help for your homework for lesson 3.